So, beginning meditation. When we start the meditation practice, we bring our awareness and attention to aspects of the present moment that are with us all of the time. But our mind is generally too active to embrace them. And we do that by starting with the sensations of the breath, entering the nose and leaving the nose. Just noticing all of the subtle sensations there as the air passes in and out. And then we add the experience of the breath touching the back of the throat, adding the experience of the rib cage expanding and contracting with each breath, the abdomen rising and falling. You might notice the back moving with each breath, the shoulders rising as you inhale and falling as you exhale. Perhaps also noticing the body straightening up slightly as you breathe in and leaning forward slightly as you breathe out. And so, really allowing ourselves to rest in the experience of the entire breathing process. You notice we started small with the breath entering the nose and leaving the nose, right? And then we add more experience, the breath touching the back of the throat. And then we add again the rib cage expanding and contracting. So it's this experience of awareness starting small here and getting slightly larger as the presentation, or as the meditation rather, unfolds. And so then we just rest with the breath for a few breaths, maybe 3, 4, 5, 10. Doesn't matter how long you rest there. But when you're ready, add the experience of the body to the meditation. And we do this by what's called body scanning. And we start from the top of the head and we scan through to the bottoms of the feet. Again, adding more and more sensory experience to the meditation practice, allowing awareness to again expand larger and larger and larger as we go through the practice, always adding more and more. And as we go through the body, experiencing the body, we'll be inviting the muscles in the body to rest, relax, and grow soft, letting any tension or stress that might be held in the body go. Now, it's very likely that you'll come to an area of the body that it has a lot of stress, that's quite tense. The body doesn't want to let that go. That's normal. It's not a sign that you're doing the practice wrong in any way. But we can't force relaxation, right? You try to push a muscle to relax, it just causes more tension there. So just notice the areas of the body that have a lot of stress, that have a lot of tension, and keep going through the body scanning practice like that until you get to the bottoms of the feet. Now, I want to mention here that it's an often misperceived concept that we want to visualize the body while we're doing the body scanning. It's not exactly it. In fact, we want to drop any visualization at all and just feel the energy inside the body, or feel the inside of the body. And so you do that by dropping the visualization and just feeling that body part as it exists. Now, it might help if you're able to feel the sensations of clothing resting on that area of the body. That can help as well, like that. But we don't want to visualize the body, because visualizing the body reinforces the conceptual idea of the body. We're trying to actually reclaim the experience of the body from the conceptual mind. So we want to drop that and then bring our awareness back to the actual experience of the body itself. Very important. Okay. Ideally, at that point in the practice, feeling the breath, feeling the body. Now that's a lot of sensory experience to hold in awareness all at the same time. So you might notice that awareness is shifting around from sensation here to sensation there. It might be an itch in the shoulder, an ache in the knee, perhaps your foot falling asleep, whatever it is. Something grabs your awareness. That's normal too. If you notice that happening, just allow awareness to then expand back out from what you're focused on to include all of the sensations of the breath and body all at the same time as one experience. And so then we just rest there with the breath and the body. And we can rest for 5 breaths, 10 breaths, however long feels good for you. And then include the experience of sound into the present moment experience, noticing any sounds that might be arising. And we don't focus on any one sound in particular, but rather allowing our awareness to experience the entire field of sounds, hearing all of the sounds all at the same time. Now, it's normal if your awareness starts to focus on different sounds, particularly if something is distracting, like somebody drops a hammer or a glass or a baby starts crying. Normal. If you notice that happening, just allow again awareness to expand back out throughout the aural field to include all of the sounds equally, all at the same time. Now, in addition to the sounds, paying close attention to the quality of silence within the aural field. There's always a backdrop of silent space. Doesn't matter if we're in rush hour in Times Square or in downtown Tokyo, there's always a backdrop of silence. And so in the meditation practice, allow your awareness to really notice the silence in between the sounds rather. We'll get to the silence in between the thoughts in a moment. But for now, just noticing the silent space in between the sounds. And it might seem as if that silence surrounds the entire present moment. So, at this point in the meditation, ideally experiencing all of the breath, all of the body, all of the sounds and the silence equally, all at the same time. And again, you'll notice distractions coming and going. Normal. Just rest back into the practice, coming back to the breath, the body, the sounds, and the silence. Now then there's the challenge of the thinking mind, right? Because we all know that the mind wants to be jumping from thought to thought to thought to thought to thought to thought to thought. And many contemplative circles, they call that the monkey mind, because it's jumping from vine to vine to vine to thought to thought to thought throughout the jungle of the mind. So the technique that I like to offer and that I use personally in my own practice is that whenever you notice you're distracted by your thoughts, just say the word thinking to yourself. And what you've done there is you've labeled the thinking process, because when you're distracted by your thoughts, that is a state of unawareness. And now by labeling it, you're bringing a state of awareness to the unawareness, and they can't coexist. The awareness cancels out the unawareness, so to speak. So you've brought the light of awareness in, that thought will dissolve. Then you come back to the breath, wherever we are in the practice, the body, the sounds. Rest there. Then probably another thought's coming up right after that. That's normal. Thinking, that thought will dissolve. Then probably very quickly another thought's coming up right after that. That's normal. Thinking, that thought will dissolve. So I'll just give a little example of what that might look like. So let's say we've started the practice, you're feeling the breath, feeling the feeling the breath at the nose, the breath at the back of the throat, noticing the rib cage, the clothing moving with the breath and so forth. And then there's a thought. Oh wow, I'm glad I'm finally starting to meditate. This is going to be really good for me. My brother likes to meditate. I wonder what my brother's doing these days. I should call my brother. Oh, I'm thinking. That thought will dissolve. And probably another thought's coming up. And tomorrow I'm going to go have lunch with my friend, and well, maybe we should try that new sushi restaurant. Oh yeah, my sister really likes sushi. I haven't talked to my sister in weeks. I should call my sister. I wonder how she... Oh, thinking. That thought will dissolve. And probably another thought's coming up right after that. Normal. Thinking, that thought will dissolve. Now the thing to start to realize is that there's a gap. There's a space in between the one thought that came up, dissolved, and the next thought that's coming up. There's a gap. And as one of my favorite teachers likes to say, that gap might be just fine enough to get a hair through, but it's there. And that's the important part, to notice that space in between the thoughts. Because the more we start to notice that space, the more evident that space becomes, the wider the space starts to become, like that. And that's how we bring a sense of peace, a sense of stillness to the mind through meditation. See, the stillness, the peace, the silence of the mind, it's always there. But again, it's just covered up with all of the thinking. So as we slowly begin to part the thoughts, the silence begins to emerge from that part, like that. So don't get discouraged by the amount of thoughts you might have. It's normal for people to have a lot of thoughts. People will tell me all the time, "Oh, Chris, I can't meditate. My mind is too active. It'll never work." Hogwash. Never met somebody who can't meditate. It's just noticing that the mind is active. That's meditation. So that's the success. You've turned around, you've looked at the mind, you say, "Wow, it's really active in there." That's meditation. Let that thought go. Come back to the present moment, like that. Each time you get distracted by a thought, you say thinking, come back to the present moment. Each time you do that, it's like you're lifting weights. You're strengthening the muscle of awareness and attention. You're lifting the awareness barbell, strengthening the muscles of awareness and attention. And with that cultivated strength in awareness and attention, the space in between the thoughts gets a little bit easier to sense, a little more obvious, like that. So getting discouraged by the amount of thoughts that you have in your mind is like going to the gym and getting discouraged with the amount of weights there are on the floor. You wouldn't do that. It'd be really silly. Go to the gym and say, "Oh, what are all these weights doing here? Oh my God." Right? Same thing. You come to meditation. What are all these thoughts doing here? That's great. That's your workout. That's your opportunity. Each thought is an opportunity to get a little bit stronger with your awareness, with your attention. Each time you let that thought go, doing that rep with that barbell, it's going to get a little bit easier, incrementally easier, to begin to sense the space in between the thoughts, like that. So just to know that the amount of thoughts you have, if it's a lot of thoughts, it's a little thoughts, it's all a part of the meditation practice, like that. This meditation can be done with the eyes open or closed. Open eye meditation is an actual stage in the meditation practice, and we'll get to that stage later on down the road. Although that stage is outlined in my book, Such Sweet Thunder. So if you're interested, do take a look at the book. It is available on this website, suchsweetthunder.org. The way I give meditation instructions, it can be done seated in any posture. You don't have to sit in a lotus position on the floor. You can use a chair. I do recommend being as comfortable as possible. Now, I don't recommend lying down, however, because lying down, it's easy for the mind to get foggy. You might fall asleep and so forth. So not ideal, at least not for a beginning practice. And I think that's all I want to say here. Enjoy meditation. If you have any questions or comments, please do feel free to email me. My website has the email address on it. And enjoy. May all benefit. Thank you. See if I can ring the bell here.